What's up YouTube? Welcome back to a very new, fresh, special Sunday video where we do some random things, and in today's video I decided to give you my top 50 ultimate goth songs. Now you're asking maybe, why do you do that? And I'm glad that you asked. In my Q&A video someone asked me for my top 3 goth songs, and I said, well, top 3 is very hard because there are so many great songs. Then I joked a little bit and said, well, maybe I should make a top 100 video, and then I decided not to do a top 100 video because that could be way too boring for you guys. So I decided to split it and give you this week top 50 and next week also top 50. And in this week we are discovering my personal cemetery edition. That means we go back in time to the 80s and 70s and 90s. I don't know if there are songs from the 70s, but you get what I mean. We are talking today about industrial, post-punk, new wave, dark wave, cold wave, etc, etc. Oh, and Neue Deutsche Todeskunst, NDT. And next week we are having my top 50 club edition. And I guess you guys don't want to search all the 50 songs by yourself. That's why you can click here. There is the link to the playlist I created with all the songs I'm talking about today. But I would highly recommend not to click on this link because that would take the surprise from you. Just watch the video until the end and then look down in the description because there is the link also. The way I planned it is that there are 50 songs, also 5 categories with 5 different genres. So each category will have 10 songs. And yeah, I would say let's start with the first top 10. My first top 10 of my ultimate top 50 goth songs cemetery edition is Deathrock, post-punk and Rockabilly. I know these are 3 different genres or subgenres, but overall they sound pretty the same, so I decided to put these 3 genres into one category, and here are my top 10. Hoto Vacui, Time, Christian Death, Romeo's Distress, Joy Division, Disorder, Susie and the Banshees, Spellbound, Bloody Dead and Sexy, One by One, London After Midnight, Sacrifice, The Cure, Boys Don't Cry, Secret Discovery, Down From Hell, Bauhaus, She's in Parties, New Day's Delay, Radioactive, and that's it. Well, that was very fast. So yeah, that was my, I would say, post-punk top 10. Typical for this genre is of course the amount of reverb you have on the vocals and on the guitar. These are basically rock songs, so you have mostly a bassist, a guitarist, a singer and a drummer. And now let's talk about the second category, my second top 10, and that's dark wave, cold wave and new wave. This is basically the same like post-punk, so mostly you have guitar with a lot of reverb and the vocals are also mostly like you hear it on post-punk songs. But there is a little twist because we are talking about wave, and wave is more electronic focused. So that means we have post-punk songs, you could call it post-punk songs, but mostly with electronic drums or some synths in the background. So this is the more electronic part of the old school goth scene. So it has nothing to do with the electronic music we are talking next week about, but this is, I would say, cold wave, dark wave, new wave. You could say it's post-punk, but a little bit more electronic. And these are my top 10. Lebanon Hannover, Gallo Dance, Molcha Doma. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I don't pronounce it. Also, the same for She Passed Away. I really don't know how to pronounce this song, but you can see it here. I don't have to pronounce it. I'm sorry, I don't try it. The Soft Moon, Burn, Gallo, Last Dance, Buzzcull, Into the Void, Unclark, Sleeper in Metropolis, Depeche Mode, Never Let Me Down Again, Visage, Fade to Grey and Camouflage, The Great Commandment. These are my top 10 dark wave, cold wave, new wave songs. And there are some older songs, some newer songs, so I tried to mix it a little bit so everything stays exciting. We have a little bit from the past, a little bit from now, and yeah, I think a good mix is always very good. One thing I really forgot is that there is no artist I will mention twice in both lists. So if here's, for example, a band that did industrial in the past and makes electronic music nowadays, and I love both eras, I decided just to put this band either in one or the other list. That means next week, when both videos are released, you got a list from my top 100, and these are 100 artists. There are not 99 because one artist was twice in the list. No, just 100 different artists. My next list of 10 artists I really like is focused more on electronic music, but also not techno or trance or something like this. It's more industrial or EBM, electronic body music. That's when the guys in the clubs are starting to stomp, if you know what stomping is. If not, just search on the internet. That's the dance. The typical sound for industrial is probably that everything sounds like a machine or like steel. Like they would not use a drum set, they would use steel and naked steel, for example. So you have very much steel, noisy drum sounds in it. And I would say EBM has also many industrial elements, but the bassline is, when you hear an EBM song, you always will notice that first from the bassline. Here are my top 10 industrial and EBM artists and songs. A very iconic song, Bunker 27 by Wumskat, followed by Nitzer App, Join the Chant, Scold and KMFDM, Why Me, 9 Inch Nails, Head Like a Hole, a classic song. Front 242, Tragedy for You, Leather Strip, Don't Tame Your Soul, Die Krupps, Nazis of Speed, Umf, Der Neue Gott, and yes, Umf did EBM back in the days before they decided to make Deutsche Rock. Spätznaz, Apathy, and Ministry, Just One Fix. These are my top 10 industrial and EBM songs. I know it's a little bit hard right now because Ministry could be industrial rock and doesn't sound like, I don't know, for example, Nazis of Speed from Die Krupps. But overall, I would say you can put it in one category. Next, we have my top 10 goth rock or electronic rock songs. I decided not to include industrial rock or horror punk because I think post-punk has a lot of horror punk elements in it. And in my top 10 industrial songs you had bands like Ministry, so I would say that's enough for industrial rock. Let's talk a little bit about goth rock or electronic rock. It's far away from post-punk, but it's also far away from normal metal or rock music you would listen on the radio for the most part. Of course, there are some bands also in my list that are or they were successful in the past mainstream wise, but mostly they are still underground. And this is my top 10. The Birthday Massacre, Lover's End, The Sisters of Mercy, Temple of Love, Asp, Duet, Lacrimas Profundere, Sarah Lou, also I guess one of Ben Margera's favorite bands. So check them out, they are great. Also live, they are live very, very great. I saw them several times and amazing. Next we have Samsas Traum with Die Zärtlichkeit der Verdammten, also an amazing song. Umbra e Imago, Lieber Gott, Bloodflowers, Diabolic Angel, Type O Negative, I Don't Wanna Be Me, Lacuna Coil, Our Truth, and Jesus on Ecstasy, Beloved Enemy. So, and if you listen to that songs, you definitely know what I mean. These are goth rock songs, or basically just normal rock songs, but with synths and how the singers are singing. It sounds like goth rock. I don't know how to explain that to you. And now let's talk about my last category. I would say normal people could have problems getting warm with this genre. I'm talking about Neue Deutsche Todeskunst, NDT, or songs that have medieval styles in it. Many times the lyrics are spoken. The lyrics are often about poems and really dark topics. These are not typical club songs or rock songs, and over the years they were new bands and they took a little bit from Neue Deutsche Todeskunst and mixed it with other styles and created something new. So this list is very different. When you listen to those 10 songs, I bet that you will think, well, that's all Neue Deutsche Todeskunst, because they can sound very different, but overall I would say this list is not that bad. And here are my top 10 Neue Deutsche Todeskunst or medieval style songs. Das Ich, Gottes Tod, Relatives Menschsein, Verflucht, Goethes Erben, Himmelgrau, Endraum, Zweite Haut, Lacrimosa, Der Ketzer, Misanthrop, Nekrophilie, Sopor Aternus, Sieh mein Geliebter, hier hab ich Gift, Deine Lakaien, Love Me to the End, Sinnflut, Nicht im Leben, Stillste Stund, Die Macht der Stille. I must be total honest, I am also not so much into Neue Deutsche Todeskunst. So Das Ich, Relatives Menschsein and Goethes Erben are probably the only bands I am listening here and there. It's a very important genre of the gothic scene, and these are my top 50 goth songs. I really hope you like this list and you agree with me that these are amazing songs. But this is just my top 50. There are plenty of artists and songs, and next week is gonna be very, very hard, I promise, because then we're talking about club songs, and I go to clubs since 20 years now. This is my kind of music, but also this is also my kind of music, of course. I wouldn't know these songs if I wouldn't listen to that music. If you have other recommendations, other really great goth songs, feel free to leave it down in the comments so people can discover way more. And yeah, if you want to listen to that songs, my playlist is, like I said, down in the description. And that's it for today's video. I hope you had very much fun on this special Sunday video, and I hope you are pretty excited about next week's list, because then we will talk about hard techno. I thought it's way more interesting to talk about real goth music, since I've mentioned agrotech and electro so much in my previous videos, and we never talked really about the origins of goth. That's the special Sunday, and I would say until next time, peace.